Okay, here we go. Green Storage Initiative. So we've been formed more or less since 2008. You may not have been a member of SNIA, but who knows? We've taken a strong focus over a decade to create an industry test and measurement specification, and it's best depicted on the left side, where we create the specification and it becomes a building block for testing, and also for specifications for regulatory programs. It's called the SNIA Emerald specification. Currently, it's version 4.0. It's been an ISO specification as well, so it's cross-referenced across multiple regulatory bodies across the world. We're working on a version 5. I'll have a little bit more detail on the roadmap. What we started last year was a focus on a test and measurement specification for devices as well. This was to help the supply chain and cloud vendors inspect their own platforms so that they could have similar tools and methods that would allow them to make intelligent decisions on product and technology selection and building out programs. So what does GSI do if all this technical work's going on in the Green Twig? We manage the relationships across industry with regulatory bodies. We work across different SNIA forms and initiatives, as well as industry geographies, like partnering with SNIA Japan, where we work on the Japanese activities that are part of the Ministry of Technology over there. We also raise funds to help facilitate good program management, discipline, regression testing, and technical resources around data analysis and tool selection that are selected and defined in a test and measurement specification. So GSI has dedicated most of its resources to be able to roll out technical programs that benefit the supply chain and regulators. And we bundle also in those activities programs to train independent test labs and put all our training up on the website for internal testing groups inside of like member companies that are on this phone to also leverage. Next slide, please. Last year was a lot of in the closet work that may not have been very visible because it's when we get into validating tools, and there's a lot of test, analyze, rinse, repeat, changes to variables, test, analyze, repeat, and assess. The biggest work that we were doing last year was validating that our test methods, that is a tool that we use to generate traffic for block I/O at the system level, DB a tool created by Sun Microsystems, created by Oracle through their acquisition. And as time moves on, we needed to have a more predictable tool for the next 10 years so that we could work with regulators. So we validated the list of test needs and have a certain package that's ready to roll out for vendors that will be replacing VB banks in the test methods and tools with Emerald version 5.0. Additionally, we'll be rolling forward with SPEC with their file IO tool that they've updated, where it's going to be working with SPEC Storage 2020. We've validated this work with the EPA, so that's it. When we explore it with the Energy Star programs based on our timetables, we will expect and they align their programs to its best, that these will be tools that your company will use for independent test houses to use on behalf of the companies. On the Alliance front, we work with the Green Grid, who's part of ICI, which is a global lobbying and policy group based here in the U.S. And we've continually worked with the European Union Lot 9 regulators on what should be called out in storage regulations so that companies are able to sell energy compliant and products into the European Union. We're doing the same thing with in Japan, working with the Top Runner program through SNIA Japan, who works with JEDA, that works through METI. Last year, we did a lot of data analysis at the device level and system level for SNIA Japan to look at the pros and cons and merits and shortcomings of the Top Runner specification we're getting ready to, as we move into 2024 and 2025, help that geography put a more meaningful set of regulations and specifications in place. As we move into the year with the specifications work that's being done, we may need to work with some independent test houses to get the type of breadth of platforms. You know, what could your company do? We would enjoy having some companies come forward with their test labs to be able to work with our test tools and validate that the test methods are not biased for the type of results that they produce. Because once these get wrapped up into a regulatory compliance program in a given geography, and you want to sell into certain companies or geographies, your product will have to meet possible thresholds. And so, you know, the whole value benefit of SNIA in a broad sense is you get the inside work and you help to validate the test method so that as it rolls out, you're not going to have any hiccups in your product sales into a given geography. And we need this type of help. Other work that we do is we help anonymize data that goes into the EPA tracking programs for their penetration rate of different product categories, specifically for enterprise data storage. We do that on behalf of a number of member companies. We foster industry stakeholder meetings with the different regulatory bodies. We'll be having some meetings coming up in the near future with the EPA, where we're going to realign our timetables and their timetables. It was important to understand for those to attend the stakeholder meetings. They're not specific to being a GSI member. We run them for the public at large. That includes independent test labs, your companies, your supply chain, to participate in that. We'll be working as we roll out the system level tests around SNIA Emerald. We'll be putting together a comprehensive set of testing updates and training updates, and that will probably be in the latter part of 2024. Next slide, please. This is an example of the type of regulatory testing that goes on inside of the domestic market here in the United States. Most companies that want to sell to the U.S. government do testing to the Energy Star data center storage, and then they do submit the reports. If they meet the thresholds, they're listed. Since 4.0's come out, there's been, you know, an increasing number of systems that are being tested and then listed out there. What the SNIA GSI do, we have we'll pull all those reports down. We'll do comprehensive data analysis on that data, and then review those with the regulatory bodies to make sure that thresholds and continuous improvement are being aligned to what objectives that the Energy Star program is doing and what's reasonable within the products and the architectures. Next. This is our 18-month roadmap. You will have seen this also presented earlier today at the Green Twig. To highlight the two major timelines of what we're working on here, the two major specifications. If you're a device vendor or system vendor, a good time to start getting involved is now. Green Twig doesn't cost you anything. If you join GSI, that helps underwrite some of the supplemental contractors that we have in place to ensure that we have a good timetable and comprehensive testing that's being done. Next. This is just a high-level overview of we maintain through GSI a number of different relationships across industry with different organizations and vendors, policy groups, industry regulatory groups, and we also foster the submission of our specifications to become international standards so they're being cross-referenced by other bodies outside the U.S. As well. Our current collaboration work continues to be with S3, with working on the taxonomy at the device level for salt state storage. And at some point in the future, we'll be able to start testing some of the devices as they're repackaged as part of the SSF Enterprise Data Center Standard form factor as well. Next slide. Um, we've had an ongoing decline in membership of different companies have trusted the work to fewer and fewer companies that are being members of SNIA to carry this work forward. I know it's some of this work is a cost to your engineering department to be able to do additional testing, and you tend to look at the shiny objects of a lot of the other forms and initiatives that are out promoting features that are typically tied to new revenue producing features in your product line. It's important to understand that if you're not involved with this program and what in many different ways, whether you're testing for industry or helping us develop the specifications, you can put your company at a disadvantage to harm product line sales in a given geography. Our dues aren't onerous and they're not squandered on promotional tchotchke. They're purposely used on testing services, program management, and data analysis services. Next. So this is why you should be involved. It's just a more or less a more verbally verbose way of saying, don't be left behind and don't put your company product lines at risk. Become involved now, become aware, and have your company prepared so you can hit the street running. Bring your technical experts into our conversations or your different representatives in different geographies that work on policy-related work to help us put meaningful specifications and regulatory programs in place. Our overall objective around the specifications we create is create one test that's referenced worldwide, so that's the least amount of burden to your company instead of having a different test for each geography that overburdens your organization. So that's where we need the help. And that's why you should join. And if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Wayne Adams, or to Chris Luth, co-chair.